Hello, welcome to Shamanism, Metaphysics, and Grace. Today we have an astrology update for you with Jyoti. Hi, Jyoti.
Hi, good morning, Lauren.
I'm really looking forward to what you're going to share today because I've been feeling it since I woke up.
Well, we're looking at the week ahead,
Yeah.
and today, as the beginning of the week, in a sense, today the sun squares Saturn. So today is about taking back your own authority. It's about standing in your own sovereignty, your own sense of personal responsibility. And so there might be, because it's a square aspect, there might be some frustration around it. But it's really having you look at where you need to be your own authority.
Hmm. So if we're not aware of that, what might that show up like in our life?
It might show up as in some frustration. Somebody wants to do something and you know it needs to go like this. Or for you, it's like you know what you want, you know what you need, and then how do you make that happen instead of acquiescing? I
Hmm.
mean, and being as diplomatic and kind as possible, but not not letting another authority dictate what you do.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, because it's about you and your choices ultimately, always anyway. And you know, in certain situations, keeping the peace if you can, but yet not letting the authority of the situation get away from you.
Hmm. 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 So what I'm hearing is to lovingly stand up for what's coming up for you and your beliefs about a situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Always with
Yes.
love.
And then as we go into the week, Mercury is catching up from its retrograde cycle. It went retrograde. It entered its shadow first and gave us a taste of what Mercury retrograding back through Taurus was going to feel like. Uh, and then it turned retrograde, and we began maybe reassessing some of our values and priorities and the things that were important to us. And then Mercury went direct and gave us an opportunity to implement some of the things we had insight over for those 2 weeks. And this Wednesday, Mercury catches up to where it went retrograde at and moves on, moves into new territory,
Hmm.
continues its energy and movement through Taurus, enters Gemini in a couple weeks, and um, is having you look at different things. But it's kind of like this Wednesday marks the end
Hmm.
of that whole 7 week cycle.
Hmm. So what might you feel an absence of when that shifts?
Uh, Absence of dragging your feet, absence of trying to figure it out, absence of not knowing how to implement what you've learned, what you've gained, and you're ready to just kind of move on. Time to move on.
Hmm. Hmm. So anything that we might be indecisive about or mulling over, we gain what we need to move on from that.
Yes, yes, we realize, okay, it's time. I dealt with that. I went in and kind of mulled around those values and priorities that were up for me. Do I feel good about this? Do I want to do that? What's important to me? What isn't? And then so you've done all that, and this is winding down in the sense of, okay, I'm done with that whole cycle. Because we
Mhm.
have 3 of those 7 week cycles in the year, which is, 21 weeks, and we're in a year of 52. And so almost half of the year is dealing with Mercury retrograde and going direct, and at least it takes us into ourselves. 3 times a year.
Yeah.
We're not an inward driven culture, you know, and so at least 3 times a year, Mercury says, okay, let's look inward a little bit. Let's get some personal insight going on here.
Hmm. Listening to you talk about these two aspects, they feel very complementary. What's coming up this weekend, stepping into our authority and power, and then this movement of Mercury might really help us move forward.
Move forward, absolutely. And then the third piece that we're looking at is the full moon on June 3rd. And it is, well, the timing is for East Coast time, Eastern Daylight Time, it's 11:42 p.m. And so on June 3rd. And so this full moon is in Gemini Sagittarius. The sun is in Gemini, the moon's in Sagittarius. So it's the balance of the details and the larger view.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's asking you to look at how instead of either or, it becomes and.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that you are tending the details, you are looking at the larger picture and finding that balance between the two energies, so to speak. And it the nodes in the chart, the north node and the south node, are squaring Pluto. Um, and yeah, are squaring Pluto. And the North Node has Jupiter attached to it, 1 degree away. So Jupiter is also squaring Pluto. So Jupiter square Pluto always asks one, where am I giving my power away? So again, that theme that's kind of in the air today of Sun square Saturn, Jupiter and the node squaring Pluto on this full moon, and the sun is still squaring Saturn all this week, showing up in the full moon. So we carry that aspect for the next moon cycle till the next full moon, so the next month, let's say. So that's the theme of right now, today, and for the next month of where am I giving my power away? Where am I standing in and owning my own authority?
Wow. Sounds like an important time.
It is. It is. No eclipses, no big energies, just a normal full moon in a sense, but it carries within it us looking at our future, where we're heading with that Jupiter and the North Node together. Where are we heading? How can we practically apply what we know for where we're going? What is our direction and purpose? What does that look like? And how do we care for ourselves in the midst of all of that?
Mm. How we care for ourselves. That's important.
Absolutely important.
Yeah.
Absolutely important because Venus is opposing that Pluto. And so Venus opposed Pluto kind of gives a tendency sometimes for us to uh, think somebody else's vision is more important than our own.
Cool.
And
Cool.
so, how do we pull that back? How do we honor what's true for someone else? But again, that authority piece, how do we pull it back and make it our own and trust that our own vision has value, our own sense of direction and purpose is true for us, and that we learn to trust it and we step forward and we carry our own vision forward?
Mm. Mm. It sounds like another one of those and situations.
Either or, making it and. Yes. Yes. Instead of my view, the other person's vision, how do I honor both
Mm.
and also step forward in my own sense of direction and purpose?
And what a beautiful thing, though, as we all try our best to move away from this time of polarity and that things either have to be this way or that way, but
Yes.
making room for it all.
Yes, finding the middle ground without giving your power away.
Yeah.
Finding that middle ground so that you're carrying both,
Mhm.
and it not be having to be yours or mine, or the larger view of the larger people, and you have your own vision. And how do you
Mhm.
how do you incorporate it all? How do you bring it all together in the middle, so to speak, that and concept?
Yeah. Sounds like a
Yeah.
good time for some growth for all of us over the summer, just like all the plants are growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's still spring for
Yeah.
another couple weeks
Mhm.
before summer begins officially. Although I know that Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial beginning of summer. Um, and one other thing I want to say about these aspects is, it is about taking your power, and looking at where you might hide out.
Mm.
Some people hide, and yeah, and it's just part of things, and so it's, where do you make the decision to step forward and not hide out, not hide away. People sometimes say to me, I'm looking for my people. I feel like, when Clarissa Pinkola Estes talked about, the zygote, being dropped down into a family of ducks, and you're a swan, and you're trying to figure it out why you're so different. Um, Sometimes it's a question of uh, shining your light and stepping forward and being who you are, even though you're different maybe than the people around you, so that your people can see you, so the other swans can find you. They can't find you if you're making yourself small and walking around like a duck. You know,
Yeah.
they they're looking for one of their own who's tall and majestic and has its own beauty, and they're trying to find you as well. And so, stepping into that sense of empowerment, this Pluto that the nodes are squaring and Venus is opposing, stepping into this Pluto, stepping into your own power, your own authority, becoming your own authority,
Yeah.
and trusting it.
Mhm. That's it. That's the ticket right there. Trusting it.
Trusting it, yes. And trusting that your people will find you. They'll see you as you step out.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I guess the message is swan, be a
Wow.
swan.
That's a great message. And it's such a gorgeous metaphor for everyone to hold for these coming weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jyoti.
yeah,
So, a message to our listeners here. We're hitting the summer season, and due to travel schedules between Jyoti and myself, and all the things summer brings, we're going to reduce our recordings down to 3 over the course of the summer, giving you an astrology update each time. So, you can expect to hear from us the middle of June, the third week of July, and the third week of August. And I hope that'll hold you through this summer. And I'm sure Jyoti will share enough wisdom to keep you going through all those in between weeks. So,
thanks.
Jyoti, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.